Our second film, Harry Brown, with, I think we all are going to agree, a wonderful actor, Michael Caine. And this sort of combines the sort of story of a couple of other actors, and Christy will tell us about that.
Michael Caine stars as Harry Brown. He is this widower. He's an ex-Marine living in a totally run-down apartment complex in working-class London. And there are these like druggy teenage thugs who terrorize the neighborhood. He sits there very quietly in his lonely apartment and watches it all through the curtains, whatever. But then one day, they kill his best friend, his only friend, and he all of a sudden snaps and becomes this crazy vigilante, and if he had a lawn, he would tell these kids to get off of it. Here's the trailer.
Where I'm from, someone comes to you, you need to be tooled up.
I'd like to do some business on a girl. Is she okay? Maybe we should take her to the hospital. She's my business.
I don't think Harry Brown is a witness. I think he's our chief suspect. He was with the Royal Marines. He's killed before, sir.
Tell me what happened with Leonard.
Who's Leonard?
He's the man you and your mates murdered.
As far as I'm concerned, Harry Brown's doing us a favour.
To them out there, it's just entertainment.
So there you go, GQ thought it was totally awesome.
Yeah,
that's what we learned from that trailer.
Baz from the Daily News, or the Daily Mail rather, who wanted Lars von Trier to explain himself after Antichrist, also loved it apparently.
I didn't notice that.
Yes.
So yeah, and you mentioned the Get Off My Lawn, the Clint Eastwood. Obviously, with the vigilante part, there's also a little bit of Charles Bronson in that.
There's that. I mean, there's like every vigilante movie known to mankind. It's like Jodie Foster and The Brave One, and they keep saying, it's funny, they say in the press notes, we're not making Death Wish. Well, you kind of are, because I mean, it's exactly the same. He happens to have all these military skills that he puts to use. Even when he's had a couple pints too many at the pub, he can still like take down some druggy guy.
Well, it's Death Wish, but with a much better actor and with sort of and with a much more developed character.
He's really good in it, but the story itself is
I agree.
Kind of obvious, kind of gratuitous. All the drug guys, all
Very
they're cliche.
Yeah.
We had to see them shooting up and snorting,
and with the exact tattoos and the matted down hair.
They're stereotypes.
They're very stereotypes.
Do you want my score? Are we doing scores now? All
Sure.
right. I also gave this a 4 because I think it's just dreary. It takes way too long for anything interesting to happen. It's very draggy for the first chunk there. His fastidiousness of his quiet life, like we get it.
Yeah, his wife's died, and he's ex-Marine. Everything's very careful. Everything's very prepared. The water gets shut off. He makes the bed. He dresses himself impeccably.
Also, Emily Mortimer is in there. She's the detective in it, and she's just weirdly miscast. She's just like morose and way too delicate to play some like tough, badass British detective.
I don't think I love Emily Mortimer, and she was so good on 30 Rock as Jack's girlfriend, but that was the right casting for her. I'm not sure, and she was good at Match Point. I'm not sure this is right for her.
I thought there were elements of this movie that I did like, most notably Michael Caine. I think Michael Caine turns in an excellent performance in this movie. As much as the movie does drag, especially in the first part of the movie, as you see how quiet and slow he's been. You know, I really bought the grief that he shows when his wife dies and then when his friend gets killed. I really bought that. And you know, when he, you know, and there's the moment that's very much Gran Torino, very much Unforgiven, where he talks about he's left that life of the killer Marine behind him, and then it kind of turns on again, and he finds that it comes back too easy, and then you see him being a hard man, the way we saw years ago in, say, Get Carter, going back, 50 years, 40 years? So on that element, you know, on that level, I liked the movie.
I thought you were talking about the remake.
No.
I was like,
the actual Michael Caine
one.
The real
Get Carter. Sylvester Stallone one. I was like,
no.
In Vegas? That was awesome. Come on.
Come on. And I felt, you know, I started thinking on a certain level, you know, is this almost a spiritual sequel to Get Carter? You know, kind of the same story, right? But whereas Get Carter works all along, this one really takes some terrible missteps. And to me, one of the biggest problems was the Emily Mortimer character. Talk about a useless police person. Like, useless, right? She comes in and she says, you start thinking, okay, she's going to be this by the book, hard-nosed, badass cop. She, reprimands one of her partner for making some crack about the deathagram, right?
Which a line I really liked.
And she reprimands him for that and says that she asked for this position, and then she's useless.
Yeah, no,
she's completely useless as a policewoman, as a detective. She doesn't get anything done, and you think, well, then why did she ask for this transfer? What's at stake for her?
Right.
There's no point to her character at all, except to kind of be in peril at the end of the movie.
But she does notice obvious things, like when she goes to Michael Caine's apartment, she sees that his chess set is sitting there all quiet by itself, and she's like, oh, you don't have anyone to play with anymore, do you? Like, well, duh, of course not. His best friend is dead.
But that being said,
I thought I was certain that the end of the movie was going to be the two of them playing chess. Nothing is. I've been more positive about that.
And yeah, exactly. I thought, well, I'll play chess with you. No, that never happens, right? What I did like though is his scenes, his role, his performance is fantastic. Even in a movie that does drag and can't decide if it's going to be a drama, is it going to be a thriller, is it going to be just a vigilante action movie? It's like each act of the movie is a different thing. There's the drama, there's the part in the middle where he actually is taking people down, which I found to be relatively effective. But then in the third act, the end of the movie where you realize, oh wait, there was an actual villain in this piece. There was somebody we were supposed to identify as the villain.
The main villain, right?
The kid who runs the drug
gang
or whatever?
Who you find out his uncle is. Like, wait, the uncle thing was important.
Out of nowhere.
It's a mess, right? But that being said, I liked his performance enough. I'm going to give it a 6. Wow. And partly on the strength of, I actually found the scene, there's the one particular scene where he's buying the gun. And I found that scene riveting. It's grotesque. It's absolutely grotesque.
No, that was a good scene. I agree.
The woman, having to overdose on the couch, and just the probably biggest scumbag you've ever seen on film, the drug dealer. Painful to look at. I mean, you feel dirty just looking at him.
Well, I mean, I like that scene too. I think that scene was hampered by the fact that both drug dealers and the woman who'd OD'd seemed incredibly cliched in that
types.
scene. Yeah, I thought they were types, but I did think it was a good scene. I liked his first scene where he knifes a drug dealer who had a gun on him and didn't quite believe, or had a knife on him, and couldn't quite believe that he'd done it. Because that was surprising when he was like, "Whoa!" And you're like,
and it's done so fast that if you blink, you've missed what happened.
He was like, what did I just do? And that I liked. I thought he was great. I don't want to repeat myself because you guys sort of covered what my problems were with it. I think Michael Caine elevates this to an incredibly average film. Looked bleak. He was great. Took way too long for anything to happen. Now I am repeating the things you guys said. Average film. I gave it a 5. That's going to pull our average to a 5 and make that an incredibly average film.
Can I say one more thing that bothered me about it?
No.
Okay, thanks. Okay, cool. I'm done.
No.
I'm going home.
Okay,
so there is no exploration at all, even like in a cursory way, of how all this carnage plagues on his conscience. Like, he's a good man. He's a law-abiding man. He was a military man, and now he's using all those killing skills on just regular civilian people. How does it bother him? And there's no even glimmer of that.
Right. Or there's nothing in there that shows that the real killer was inside and it doesn't bother him, right? There's one of the things I love about Unforgiven is once his character William Money takes that turn, he doesn't look back while he's got to do that killing. He just does it. It's like a job for him, and he has, when he has his speech, I guess I've always been good at killing. He doesn't seem particularly remorseful. And then once he killed everybody, he just goes off and goes back to his life. And that works in that movie. You see none of that in here. You get no, is he the killer, is he not? It's just, let's see Michael Caine kick ass. If you want to see a movie like that, rent Get Carter.
The original Get Carter.
The original,
yes.
The
original, to be clear.
With Michael Caine. So when it all comes together, for slightly different reasons, we essentially find this to be an average film. Elevated, I think we all agree, by Michael Caine. That will conclude this week's exciting edition of What the Flick. We'll be back next week. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Christy, welcome.
Thanks.
And don't forget, next week, Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Very exciting.
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
With every single star in Hollywood. All right. See you next week, everybody. Thanks.